This is Ruben Lawing here in McAllen, Texas. Actually, I'm in Pharr right now, headed home from church. I'm doing my leadership talk today. This has been like in my mind for a while. I do a kind of a commentary, I guess you'd call it, on scriptures every morning. I get up at like 4:45 and I read the same chapter of Genesis, Psalms, and Proverbs every day for a month. So I'm on month 12 now. And so I get a fount. I got people telling me, asking me to pray for them. I got, people thanking me for keeping up on my scripture reading and my interpretations, and I'm getting branded for that, and I remember when I first started, I was with the John Maxwell Speakers Club, and I would get, everybody thought, for sure I was in the health and fitness business, and I was not. I just work out. I want to stay functional. I'm 57 years old. I'm only running a mile or two every day. I'll walk a mile, run a mile, walk a mile, or I'll run 2 miles and walk a mile, or but my knees gave me problems about a year and a half ago, and I'm now getting back at that. And I do, I do a Navy SEAL Stretch PT workout every morning, or every Monday morning, every Friday morning at 5:30, and I've been doing that for quite a while, and I'm known for that. And I talk a lot about diet, nutrition, and so I'm branded for that. People expect that out of me, all right? And then I think of, so this subject, okay, of branding is what I'm basically talking about right now, and how, I remember Roy Jones Sr., my boxing trainer. If he got to the point, if he said it about it was gospel, he had proved himself to me enough times. Now later on, I came to learn that there was, when it came to, he was two categories that he was excellent on, and that was raising good kids and training fighters. And so those two areas, all right, he is branded in my mind as the expert, okay? When it comes to spousal relationships or financial dealings, not so much, okay? And it took a while to get that separation, right? It's really interesting that I first got in the financial business, after I left the SEAL teams. I guess I was branded for that, right? Every time I wrote a resume, it came up some carrying a gun, and I didn't want to do that anymore. And I read every book you could get your hands on personal finance and debt management, and I plugged into this one book, these two books together. John Avanzini was the author. He was a pastor. He wrote the book Breaking the Power of Debt and Rapid Debt Reduction Strategies. Breaking the Power of Debt was all about tapping into that supernatural, spiritual power and desire to get out of debt. And then Rapid Debt Reduction Strategies was pretty basic strategies as a debt roll-up strategy. In the book, calls it a debt roll-down strategy, where you rank all your debts, the highest to the smallest, like second on your credit report, and you add up the total, the minimum monthly payment, and that's what you pay every month. If you got a little extra money, you put that toward the payment of the smallest debt. Everything you pay above and beyond the minimum goes straight to principal, lowering your effective interest rate, paying the debt off faster. When you pay that smallest debt off, Now you take that combined debt service amount, you add it to the next the payment to the next smallest debt, and just keep paying your bills on time, and you'll gobble up all that debt, and it won't affect your lifestyle. If you make more money, you put that away, you save that money. Okay. So at the same time you're paying down your debt, you're building your nest egg. Okay. And one of the scriptures that he references is Luke 16. That's the parable of the dishonest, the manager that was accused of being dishonest, and he basically uses debt settlement strategies to, settle his master's debts. And the Luke 16:9 is, use worldly wealth to gain friends, for when it is gone, you'll be welcome in eternal dwellings. And that's the first verse in Scripture I ever memorized. So this, I was well known. I was in the mortgage business. I was somebody who could take somebody who had credit issues, or they didn't ratio debt to income well enough to be able to get a loan, and I could help them out, right? And that every time I showed somebody how to get out of debt, they started looking at buying a house, and then I got known for that in that business as somebody who could get things done, could get financing where nobody else could get them financing. And there was a group of real estate investors that just started it just started coming to me, all kinds of business. Okay, but those guys got in a lot of trouble when 2008 came around. I mean, they had all this equity tied up in real estate, and then in like a month, it just evaporated because of what happened with 2008. I started focusing on construction lending. I was approved with every single construction lender there is, and I was focusing on that, but that got hit in 2006. And so there's certain things. Then I got into the drone business, and right in the beginning, and I self-educated myself on that. Learned when to use why would you use a fixed-wing drone versus a hover drone? Why you would use a quadcopter, an octocopter, a hexacopter. The different type of rotary wing drones. And I learned about the different sensors, the LiDAR, photogrammetry, multispectral and hyperspectral cameras, and then about the different sensors for oil and gas exploration and how they did everything. And today I still get people calling me. I actually had somebody who teaches disabled veterans how to fly drones, and he's got a non-for-profit, and I'm helping him out because if it's a for-profit organization, the VA will pay for the training for veterans, right? And I just let him know that just recently. Another situation, I have somebody I knew that was a real estate investor. Then they get their real estate license. I called them up. They pretty much do property management, and he was asking me, how can somebody be able to get access to equity in their home, in their investment properties, without paying the capital gains and taxes on it? And I'm like, well, let's find out. So I looked up and I found out about this strategy called a deferred sale trust. And there's one company that does a lot of this. They actually copywrote that term. Okay, and they charge about 1.5 points to do that type of work, and they do it for a lot of people. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a company that we have legacy shields that do wills and trusts and other things and estate planning type strategies. And I called them up, and it just so happened that they recently have developed a product that they call a deferred escrow trust. Okay. And extended escrow trust is what it's called. Okay. And does the same thing, but with that, doing a financing a premium. So you have real estate property, you find a buyer, okay, so they get us, you agree on an amount and then that you get the trust through Legacy Shield, and the trust buys the property for the sales price, right, and then sells it to the new buyer for that price. That equity goes into the trust, and you don't pay tax on that equity until you take it out. Now you can take it out through a low interest policy loan, or a loan to pay a premium on a universal life, an index universal life. So they don't pay tax on it because it's a loan. And then the money grows tax deferred. And then when you take that money out of that policy as an income stream, it's tax advantage. You don't pay tax on it. So this realtor got really excited about that, did a video with us discussing that, and to use for marketing. There's all kinds of strategies. Education, like today, there's 3 o'clock, there's going to do this CEP, College Education Preparation informational Zoom call today. They do it every Sunday at 3 o'clock Central Time. And I promote the heck out of it. I'm learning a whole bunch. I used to be in the educational finance group before I got in the mortgage business. And you learned about, we sold parent loans for undergraduate students and Stafford student loans. And we would tell, the parents that they need to have their kids have to have the FAFSA form finished by March. Okay. Well, now I'm learning that there's all these colleges that have all this financial aid, and it's first come, first serve. And like 1st of November, that's when that money's available. So whoever gets their FAFSA form filled out. And I didn't know that. I was in that industry, didn't know that. So I'm learning a lot of things about this college education preparation. And they start with the kids and the parents when they're in middle school. Figure out what their aptitude is, what their interests are, what topics, what classes in school they should be taking. They keep up with them. They find the right schools that have the desired curriculum and the most amount of financial aid for that education path. I mean, it's pretty in depth. All right, and they're the experts. I just know who they are. We just have the resources to do that for people. And I've been promoting that. And I haven't got anybody to tune in yet, but the more I use my campaign manager, I'm getting known on how to utilize the counter and the campaign manager and Salesforce, right? And I'm going to get even better at that for my business. I'm there's so many people that need help, and right now, like never before, because of this whole pandemic thing, and people are looking for opportunities. People are looking for how they can make up for lost time. And that's something I was, with the business, I'm a baby boomer. I'm in the trail end of the baby boomers, and so I was talking to, and I started doing the presentation. I realized, everything in here is really targeted toward the millennials because of what's happening. They're the ones that are going to be, you know, footing the bill coming up, and there's not the opportunities there were for them because of outsourcing and because of the automation. And so they're, you know, they're the ones that really need the help, and they're the ones that are going to benefit the most because of the age, you know, how old they are. They're going to have longer time for their money to grow. Your time's your greatest asset. Now, I say all this because everything's got a branding or a what you're known for. And that's what I'm talking about here. Right? It's what I'm known for, it's what our company's known for, it's what these strategies are known for. It's all of these things. And the more you plug into the training and get the education and start articulating it, the better off you're going to be. And that's what you're going to get known for. Okay? And yeah, I like it that people know me as somebody that works out and takes care of myself. I like it that people know me for, you know, my faith and my knowledge of the scriptures. I like it. Well, what's really getting interesting, though, is when it comes to the financial literacy and financial services business, all these things are tying together. Because it's a really big challenge with people working so hard to make money so they can save their money and so their money can take care of them when they retire, and then they end up spending all that money on doctors and hospitals because they didn't keep up with their health. Isn't that something? And so they go together. That wealth and health, you know, Transamerica tried to get the wealth and health community going on, and they were targeting people that were good producers. They worked and saved, and they got their 401ks and their IRAs funded, and they're going to be able to retire on time, but they didn't keep up with their health. And, you know, so even if they could afford to travel, they can't because of their health, or even if they do, all they're going to do on vacation is eat at the buffet. And then there's another group that did a really good job staying fit. They live at the gym. You know, they train like professional athletes, but they don't get paid like professional athletes. And they're spending all their time, they're paying for that service instead of being paid to train. And they're not taking that time to produce financially, and so they're behind on their retirement. And so they were going to put the two together to bring both sides up, right? Well, you know, that's still an issue, right? It's just hard to get people to start working together that way, but it's still possible. That campaign kind of faded. They had a bulletin board. It had threads like fitness, nutrition, budgeting, debt management, stress, and retirement. And they had like awesome videos, and people would share their diet plans, and it was pretty neat what they were doing. It just didn't go anywhere, except with me, right? I talk about it all the time. When you're training, and I learned this I was a master training specialist in the military, and I taught boxing and physical fitness, and they would make us teach the IG verbatim. You couldn't deviate a syllable, but it didn't take very long before you had it memorized, and then you didn't have to focus so much on what you said. You could pay more attention to the reaction of people that you're teaching. Okay, and you'd hear certain questions would pop, and I couldn't tell who was going to ask it, but that same question would come out at every certain point in the IG. I'm seeing now with the 7-step, we do 6 classes out of the Saving Your Future book. And there's a story in that with that book, right? In the introduction, it talks about how 39% of Americans um, don't pay their bills on time. The average uh, retirement is like $55,000. That's in Canada for their RRSP. Can't retire very long on that, right? The um, people think it's okay to default on their mortgages if they can't afford to pay it. And I got that pretty much memorized, right? But why is that? How did that happen? Well, when you go to the page that talks about the three-legged stool, I remember hearing that in home ec as a junior in high school. 30% of your retirement should be your personal savings. You got 30% should be Social Security. So the average Social Security check is only like $800 a month, right? And then the other supporting leg, should be company pensions, and that's gone the way of the dinosaur, right? That's what they taught us. It was wrong. It was wrong. What they taught us in school was wrong. And I'm one of the people that when somebody lies to me or they tell me something that's untrue one time, it's really hard for me to ever believe them again. All right, and that's what we're up against. We're up against that old paradigm that was taught by the institutions, right? Well, now what we're teaching in the Saving Your Future book, we're teaching it at Harvard Business School. The actual dean of Harvard Business School is an associate with World Financial Group. That's amazing, right? Teaching it to Columbia Business School, the company Oracle, right, and the FBI. And they had to go through some hoops to be able to teach our financial literacy out of the Saving Your Future book with the FBI, but they did it. They're the one. We are the ones that are approved for that. Okay, so that's a lot of credibility right there. Okay, so what we're doing, but there's this story. Okay, and there's all these things that I like to be correct. The rule of 72. Albert Einstein did not come up with the rule of 72. He's the one that made it famous. He was interviewed late in his life, and this journalist asked him, of all the things you've learned about math and science, what was the most fascinating? And he said, the law of compound interest, the rule of 72. Called it the eighth wonder of the world. All right. It was Socrates that came up with it, but he made it famous. When you talk to people, I remember I was in a multi-level, and I knew this guy through Roy Jones. He was a black businessman, all right, very successful. And I take this engineer with me, all right, and he says he confused the book Think and Grow Rich. He confused the authors. He said J. Paul Getty wrote Think and Grow Rich. J. Paul Getty wrote How to Be Rich. And this guy read them both, right? And that just, from that point on, all right, I didn't let that guy go on appointments with me, right? He never read them. And here he is, talking about them. I ended up reading every book ever written by J. Paul Getty, how to be a successful executive, how to think, how to be rich. And as I see it, his autobiography, like 4 times. I read both Lee Iacocca's books 2 or 3 times. I read Think and Grow Rich at least 4 times. I read Steel Titan, the autobiography of, this is awesome, of Charles Schwab, the industrialist, which inspired the Carnegie course and the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, which inspired Toastmasters. Okay, and what's very interesting when you learn in that book, the company that financed the merger of U.S. Steel with this group of steel distributors that became U.S. Steel was Aegon, the company that owns Transamerica and World Financial Group, right? And that very interesting, that kind of tie-in. And I'm putting all this out here because, yeah, I like to be branded as somebody who knows about fitness and nutrition and keeps himself fit. I like to be branded as somebody who, knows my scriptures, right? I like to be branded as somebody with faith, right? I like to be branded as somebody who can figure out how to solve problems and help people, right? But I sure enough want to be branded as somebody who is in the financial services business and is resources with a credible company that has vast resources that can help everybody, not just somebody who's, if you don't have $250,000 a year or $250,000, Merrill Lynch won't talk to you. If you don't have at least $50,000, Edward Jones won't talk to you. We'll help everybody. And when you sit down with somebody and you see they're spending everything that they're making, a lot of people will just hand the business card. Well, when you get in a better financial situation, give me a call. Not only will I roll up my sleeves and take my knowledge to help people, but I have smoking resources to help them get in a better financial situation, and then so they can have something. Just did it for myself. Okay, I got a policy, right? Paying my $200 a month for my policy, but I cleared out my storage, saved. It's going to save me $70 a month, and I made the last payment on a personal loan for the down payment for my vehicle, which is like $179 a month. So I have freed up about $250 a month, right? And that's what I'll do for anybody. My son was working for Tesla, and he wanted to buy his own S3, and he didn't have a lot of credit, and his scores were really low. So we looked at it. He had a derogatory that wasn't his. So I told him how to dispute it. In 24 hours, his score jumped 60 points. Now he's driving his own S3 around. Okay. I know how to do things. I know how to help people. What I'm working on is getting people that need that help to trust me and utilize me to help them. And that's what I want to be branded for. All right, have a great Sunday.